Let's talk about a car that might as well have been built inside a blacked out warehouse with no doors, windows or PR department. A car so obscure that even Pontiac dealers in the 80s probably needed a séance to remember it existed. And yet, it was one of the most interesting collaborations to ever emerge from the confused, neon-soaked quagmire that was the late 1980s. American car culture. I'm talking about the 1989 to 1990 Pontiac Turbo Grand Prix, a McLaren-tuned, turbocharged sleeper coupe that could have eaten a BMW 3 Series for breakfast. Now, you might think the idea of a McLaren-Pontiac collaboration is some sort of made-up clickbait for a video. But it happened, and it wasn't a joke. In fact, for 2 glorious model years, the Grand Prix wasn't just a floaty, badge-engineered marketing exercise for people who smoked inside with the windows up. It was a proper effort to inject some testosterone into a segment that had been quietly dying of boredom. But to understand where this car came from, we have to rewind the clock back to a time when Pontiac was still pretending to be GM's performance brand. The Grand Prix had been around since 1962, and in its early years, it was a full-size muscle coupe powered by a massive fire-breathing V8. Then came the 70s, a decade that replaced horsepower with upholstery and quarter-mile times with vinyl roof options. By the mid-1980s, the Grand Prix had become the automotive equivalent of a soggy mashed potato. Bland, lumpy, and tragically uninspired. But then came the W body. In 1988, Pontiac introduced the all-new 6th generation Grand Prix, now based on GM's W body platform. It was front-wheel drive, which at the time was as controversial as suggesting that a Corvette should be an SUV. Base models came with a wheezy 2.8-litre V6, making 130 horsepower. Pontiac knew it needed more than just snazzy digital gauges and velour seats to lure in buyers who still believed in the power of performance. So they phoned a friend, a very interesting friend. That friend was ASC McLaren. Not the Formula One team from Woking, but rather an American offshoot based in Michigan. You see, in 1980, Heinz Prechter, the founder of American Sunroof Company, or ASC, bought McLaren engines, the powertrain division Bruce McLaren had set up to support the Can-Am and Indy efforts in America. With the purchase came not just the name, but also a bunch of brilliant engineers who knew their way around boost, combustion, and making American iron move like European thunder. The result was the Turbo Grand Prix, built for 1989 and 1990 in collaboration with ASC McLaren. And it was a revelation. Gone was the soggy, uninspired Grand Prix of yesteryear. In its place stood a coupe with real performance credentials, revised styling, and the sort of seat bolstering that suggested the driver might actually go around a corner with intent. On the outside, the Turbo Grand Prix was visually distinguished from its pedestrian siblings by a full body kit that included flared arches, a bespoke front fascia with actual cooling vents, functional hood louvers, and an aggressive tucked rear bumper. It looked like it had spent some time in a wind tunnel and maybe a few hours in a tanning bed. The 16-inch cross-lace alloy wheels finished the look, making it appear faster than it probably was. The inside, meanwhile, was pure 1980s excess. Huge, lounge chair-esque seats with 10-way power adjustment, an electronic compass, a trip computer, and, the best of it all, a little digital display that showed the car's outline, direction of travel, and even the date. This was back to the future, Pontiac style. But the real magic was under the hood. McLaren took GM's then new 3.1-litre LHO V6 and turned it into something worthy of the Grand Prix name. They added a Garrett T25 turbocharger, an intercooler, stronger internals, and an upgraded oil system. The result was the LG5, a force-fed V6, making 205 horsepower and 225 pound-feet of torque, mated exclusively to a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now those numbers might not sound impressive today, but back in 1989 that was serious firepower for a front-wheel drive coupe. Remember, this was a time when the Mustang was barely clearing 225 horses, and the Camaro IROC Z wasn't much quicker. The Turbo Grand Prix could hit 60 miles per hour in around 7.9 seconds and do the quarter mile in 15.7. It wasn't a Corvette, but it wasn't supposed to be. This was a luxury missile, built to eat highway miles at 100 miles per hour, with the stereo up and the aircon blowing cold. And it didn't just go in a straight line. The suspension was stiffened, the steering wheel was recalibrated, and the chassis was braced in all the right places. It could corner, it could brake, it didn't feel like a barge. For once, a Pontiac Grand Prix wasn't just pretending to be sporty, it actually was. But as it often is the case with these weird and wonderful automotive experiments, the Turbo Grand Prix didn't last. It debuted partway through the 1989 model year, and only 751 units were built. For 1990, Pontiac gave it a slightly wider release, building another 2,749 examples, and that was it. In just 2 years, Pontiac had built a car with genuine McLaren DNA, given it more power than most of its rivals, and wrapped it in a body shell that looked like it belonged in an episode of Knight Rider. Then they quietly killed it off and went back to selling Grand Ams to people who called manual transmissions stick shifts and thought torque steer was a type of steering wheel cover. Today, the Turbo Grand Prix is criminally overlooked. You can still find them, usually in good condition for under $20,000. That's a laughably small amount of money for a car that is this rare, this strange, and this cool. It's got the pedigree, the looks, the comfort, and just enough turbo lag to keep things interesting. It's not a sports car, it's not a muscle car, it's something entirely different. A leather-lined missile with the heart of a racer and the manners of a diplomat. And if that doesn't make it one of the coolest forgotten cars of the 20th century, I don't know what does. But at the end of this video, please let me know what you guys thought of the video and what you guys think of this car. I do think they messed it up a bit with the front wheel drive. I think 200 horsepower, rear wheel drive, manual gearbox, this thing would have sold much better. I'm not sure what it cost brand new, how expensive it was, but I do think with the rear wheel drive and a manual, this thing would have been much more well known today. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you guys did like this video, you'll most probably enjoy most of my other stuff. So just go through my channel, see if there's someone else like. I'll check you guys in the next one. Cheers,